Welcome to the Best Team Wins podcast with Adam Robinson. He's talking to today's industry leaders and entrepreneurs about the people side of their business.
Welcome to the Best Team Wins podcast, where we feature entrepreneurs and business leaders whose exceptional approach to the people side of their business has led to incredible results. My name is Adam Robinson, and this week I am excited to share our 100th episode of the Best Team Wins podcast. We first launched the Best Team Wins podcast in 2016, and the aim was to provide business and HR leaders with compelling content delivered through real people who are living in the role, working hard and doing the right things to improve hiring, to improve company culture, to improve talent management efforts, to build the best possible team, and to showcase those examples for the benefit of everyone. This podcast essentially started as a side project as part of my book, The Best Team Wins, and I'm truly humbled by the fact that nearly 100 hiring and leadership experts from around the country have since joined the show. To commemorate the 100th episode, I touched base with a few of our top guests from the past few years to learn about where they are now and how the people side of their businesses have changed. Take a listen. First up, I'm checking in with Rodney Williams, co-founder and chief commercial officer at LISNR, the world's most advanced ultrasonic data platform. Rodney first appeared on the program in October 2017, and he discussed why he doesn't recruit straight-A students, but instead looks for the folks that got B's in school. At the time, Rodney had recently been named Entrepreneur of the Year by Ernst & Young, and LISNR had recently been named a CNBC Top 50 Disruptor for the second year in a row. Rodney is a big believer in the importance of human capital strategy at startups, and after maintaining massive growth at LISNR over several years, he knows a lot about building the best team to win his market. Let's hear from Rodney about LISNR's growth and success since we checked in with him last in October 2017. Rodney, can you tell the audience about how LISNR has changed and grown as a whole since you first appeared on the podcast back in October?
Yeah, so the company continues to grow. I think that the probably biggest change is we shifted our headquarters a bit. So we're now in Oakland, California, as well as Cincinnati, Ohio. Leadership sits in Oakland, and the majority of our development core still sits in Cincinnati. So probably the biggest change, but the company continues to grow.
How has the people side of the business changed at LISNR?
Yeah, from the people side of the business, for us, I mean, honestly, we've over the past 12 months invested a lot and more than we've had in the past in culture. And I think every stage of company needs, almost a new stage of, like different stage companies need different things. And I think we're at a stage where we wanted to invest back into culture. We wanted to create more transparency where there wasn't. And we also wanted to make sure that we were hiring people that were going to add to that culture. That was a very, very new addition or framework in terms of how we do things. Prior to that, it was all about just the best talent. I think we still want the best talent, but we're definitely also want contributors of good culture. And sometimes it's not as easy, but the way I like to describe it, I think it's important for positive workplace. And what a startup is at the end of the day is organized chaos. Ultra negative attitude towards anything is probably not going to be productive for the team. And I think what's really important is just that's one of the attributes, at least, is being able to withstand and work through the growing and changing environments of a startup, but still be positive each and every day. Still want to make an impact in the organization outside of just building products or building our core technology. I just think those things are really, really important.
What's the biggest lesson you've learned about the people side of your business in the past year?
I've learned it's so much. I've learned that every new addition, the team is different, and I never really assessed how much different injections of talent changes the recipe or changes the chemistry. This past year, we've had good lessons and bad lessons about how changes could affect the overall business, and we had to start paying attention to it more. That's probably that is the background on why when we do hire now, there's a culture assessment, right, or a personality assessment that's a little bit different um, than all of the things that you would expect in an interview. Well, of course, it's a qualitative assessment, but yeah, but the thing about it is that we now have a process in which that is assessed, right? So instead, if someone was to apply and they would go through 2 to 3 rounds of interviews and then get one of the interviews that are now is specific culture interview or a culture assessment, and that could be in person. It's usually in person, and it's usually outside of your standard, you know, office, right? Where we're trying to assess the personality of that person and how they would interact with our organization. That's kind of what we've done to at least bring that into the framework, so we can have an open discussion about it. I think once you have it in the framework, you're given the ability to have a discussion about it. But yeah, that's one of the changes or one of the new things that we are doing.
Rodney, what are some of your biggest goals for the coming year, both on the people side of the business and for LISNR in general?
The company as a whole have started to really focus also in the past 12 months on our impact, our technology's impact to merchants and retailers. And simply put, it's the value proposition of our technology in the payment space alongside merchants have grown significantly over the past 12 months. And with that said, the next 12 months, I'm going to have a lot of the biggest launches that we've ever had in that space. So everything from top retailers to merchants to payment processors and banks are gonna be customers. And so I think that the team and the company is extremely excited about that direction and the focus there as the company continues to grow.
That's Rodney Williams, co-founder and chief commercial officer at LISNR. Rodney, thank you for joining and best of luck with your future growth.
Awesome. Thank you.
Next on the program, I'm touching base with Dan Snyder, co-founder and managing partner at Homeside Financial, one of the nation's fastest growing mortgage companies. Dan originally joined us on the program in October of 2017 as well, where he discussed the importance of explaining failure to earn employee trust and making authenticity central to day-to-day business. At the time, Homeside Financial had 450 employees, was recently named Glassdoor's Best Places to Work, and focused much of its recruiting efforts on hiring people with customer experience skills rather than based on experience. Dan, let's walk through what you've been up to since your episode aired. Can you tell the audience about how Homeside Financial has changed and grown as a whole since you first appeared on the podcast?
Yeah, I mean, we've Homeside continues to grow as long as we've got good people to grow with, and that's been our mainstay from the very beginning. I mean, we're not in a huge race powered by anything other than trying to change an industry. So there's no private equity behind us saying that we have to grow. So to the extent there's good people, we'll grow. So we've opened up offices in Detroit, Oregon, and several others. We've infilled into other markets, and we'll finish 2018 up over 2017, and within the top 100 lender again. And most notably, we finished in the top, I think it was 869th in the Fortune or the Inc. 5000, which is a big accomplishment of just overall growth. Not that it's about the awards, but it's fun to be acknowledged.
How has the people side of the business changed at Homeside Financial?
Yeah, one of the things that's probably most notably is that our business has largely been, as we've grown, we have one channel that's retail, so it's relationships, it's local markets, it's very much concierge level treatment, and And the other side of the market we've got is a digital offering that's still has experts behind the scenes navigating the clients, but clients across the whole country that want a more technology driven, smoother approach, and don't want to have to go into an office or have to do the traditional retail. We have that side of the business. And we got to the point where heading into the fourth quarter of this year, where I made the call to spin off actually our digital side of the business, where so Homeside will continue to be and operate as we have today and continue to grow. But for our digital side of the business, in order to be more of a pure play and allow our people to focus on delivering great service to customers that are maybe not near a brick and mortar location. Those customers really want lower rates. They want an efficient process, and so we are calling that company Lower. So our hope is that when on a national basis, when you go to lower.com, for your mortgage needs and you're comfortable working with us online, then we'll have an outlet for that. So that's probably one of the biggest changes on the people side is just how do you essentially split up the companies, spin one off. And so far it's been very promising. It's been like, just we launched this week actually, and everyone is. I think that what we found is that people gravitate towards really clear missions. Like having a mission that is cloudy really can cloud your team members, your employees. Like, should I even work here? Should I be in this career? And level setting, even after our 4 years of growth, and saying, hey, Homeside's going to continue to grow. You guys that are on the digital side, and then more that are interested in coming on board, we're going to spin that off as a separate company to let it thrive. And then Homeside will thrive because it's a unique, modern way of approaching the retail side of the business. So that's all been, big news around here over the last, probably internally for the last 60 days.
What is the biggest lesson you've learned about the people side of the business in the last year?
You need to have a clear mission, for your company, and then make sure that gets communicated down. But what we're finding is, the biggest lessons is probably at how independent our employees want to be in exploring their role, which is a bit more unique. From my standpoint of being in the, working world for 15 years or so, instead of being told exactly what to do, it's more of here are the guardrails. This is the expectation, clearly, from a productivity standpoint. But how you get there, we're going to let you, have a little bit more creative freedom. And that's appealed to a lot of our folks, and also allowed us to attract a lot of talent that maybe where their former company has such strict guardrails where they can't maybe be heard.
Dan, what are some of your biggest goals for 2019, both on the people side of the business and for Homeside Financial?
Well, for in 2019, we've got a growing Homeside Financial, and where we're looking at not only deepening our footholds in the existing 30 markets that we're in today, but looking at strategic partnerships with other groups out there that might find themselves a better fit at Homeside rather than another company. The mortgage industry itself has seen raising rate environment, margin compression. So there's some, for those companies like us that are well-positioned, well-capitalized, it's really a interesting time because there's never been, like in the last 5 years, never been better talent out there looking to maybe make a move. So I think the story of 2019 for our Homeside business is going to be, carefully selecting groups to bring on board and integrate into our culture. On the lower side, that is a separate company, that is a digital technology-driven mortgage company, is going to be really taking a look at forming strategic partnerships with other tech companies to create, call it leads or client acquisition in a different way that's typically done. So I'm betting that in the future, instead of going to, or if once upon a time you went to your realtor, then they showed you around houses, and then now you're going to realtor.com or Zillow to go look at houses. And the same thing happened with like mortgage rates. You go online or to a loan officer. In the future, maybe you'll go to shop at Target and and they already know all the predictive analysis on when you're a renter to when you're a buyer and when you're an empty nester, based on the products and stuff that your clothing you're buying or the housewares you're buying. And we're creating an API end-to-end infrastructure on our with Lower to tie in and be able to be like the underpinnings to provide a loan for people that are in those situations, whether it be a first-time home buyer or consolidation of debt or student loan debt. And so it's all really exciting. So it's like, how do we position Lower as a national tech company that does mortgage lending, no different than SoFi did for student loan consolidation, or even Stripe for credit card processing. I feel like we can be that type of infrastructure for mortgage lending on the digital side.
When we last spoke, one of your goals on the people side of the business was to create an authentically amazing review process to help your team grow in their careers. Did you achieve this goal?
It's a great question. Yeah, it's reflecting back, we've made strides. I don't think we're there yet, and it just shows how hard it is to do that and make it truly amazing. I mean, we've today, compared to when we last talked, we have a much better review process. We brought in a system called Built to Lead, which is a leadership building and training for our leaders that really focuses less on tactical management and more on how to speak and listen to your employees, how to be real with your employees, which has been really helpful for our leaders across the company. And it's translated into more honest conversations. Now, the next step is, how do you score out those honest conversations more regularly instead of just annual reviewing, which I think a lot of companies face that challenge. So I think we're there, almost there. We're not quite there. Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me on. I think what you guys do is awesome in terms of just providing some perspective and thought leadership around the people side of the business, which for companies like ours and most, it's the most valuable and most costly if you get it wrong.
That's the latest from Dan Snyder, co-founder and managing partner at Homeside Financial. Dan, thanks so much for joining us, and best wishes with your 2019 goals.
Thanks for having me on.
Our next guest is Amanda Lannert, CEO and co-founder of Jellyvision, a technology company and employee communication platform that helps employees make better decisions about their benefits options. Amanda was first a guest on the program in November 2017 and discussed Jellyvision's graceful leave policy, which sets both employees and the company up for success by providing them with career support when they choose to leave. Under Amanda's leadership, Jellyvision has won all kinds of company and culture awards. I mean, truly too numerous to list here. but a few of them include the Chicago Tribune Top Workplaces Award, the Moxie Awards Best Company Culture, and the Best Tech Workplace for Diversity Timmy Award. Amanda, we're eager to hear about the latest Jellyvision updates since your podcast aired last year. Amanda, can you tell us about how Jellyvision has evolved and grown as a whole since appearing on the podcast a little over a year ago?
Sure, and it's almost been a blur, but in trying to take a step back and analyze, we've hired about 80 people. We are neck deep into 2 new giant launches, and at the same time, we've implemented an absolute ton of processes and features and efficiencies so that we not only are growing like crazy and had a really great year, we are fully profitable. So we got a lot more adult in our business, a lot more efficient in our business, and have some of the bottom line metrics to show it. So it's been a really, really productive year, a lot of frenzy, but also a lot of success. You get lost in it sometimes because it hasn't been an easy year. And so a lot of times you just think about how hard it is, but it really, year end is a great time to be able to look back and say, oh my goodness, quite a lot of good happened. It just happened fast, which made it seem pretty exhausting.
How has the people side of the business changed at Jellyvision since then?
Well, it's important to get employee feedback, and I'm going to answer this not from the employee perspective, but from mine. A huge thing that happened is that we changed some of our senior leadership team. We have our new head of people, we have a new chief product officer, and then we promoted our CFO into chief administrative officer and added a new CFO to the team. So the dynamics of my day-to-day have shifted, and I would certainly say leveled up. We have some incredible, thoughtful, talented adults helping to run the business. And I think the game of, the senior leadership's decision-making is really, really improved, and it's even more fun. And I hope that will sort of trickle down and create benefit for everybody who works here in 2019.
What do you think's the biggest lesson you've learned about the people side of things in the past year?
I think it's a lesson that we didn't so much learn as relearn, which is, to us, people are everything. And one of the challenges is really being able to see people and their individual contributions at scale is muscle worth investing in, and really a skill set that you have to learn. It doesn't come naturally. Even as we hire, people want intimacy, they want awareness, they want recognition, they want connection. Those things don't happen in a spreadsheet or in an HCM. They happen by managers and other people besides the C-suite really being active. So I think one of our challenges is to maintain intimacy, maintain visibility, transparency, trust, and connection, even at scale. And it always starts, to me, with hiring the best people. We've come a long way this year in terms of structure around manager training, employee engagement, action planning, lots of great steps. But I still think that a huge part of the yield of a company is in how well you pick the people who join and pick the people who stay. And when you do it well, it almost takes on a life of itself. So those are all lessons that we keep relearning as the company faces different sizes and stages as we grow.
Looking ahead to 2019, what are a few of your goals? What are some big things you want to get across the finish line over the next 12 months?
We have a bunch of goals, but the couple I'll share are: one, we are launching more than one, massive new pilots that have the opportunity to change the business. We are seriously upping our game in terms of partnerships, which is interesting because now we're going to start to do stuff that isn't just our own destiny, but actually involves going to market, going to war with other companies, and really caring about their situation, their goals, their success as much as our own. And then we're working hard to make sure from an HR and people perspective that everyone here is and feels more accountable for the success of the company, more involved in the success of the company. And it really is about, I'm trying to get 2 years ahead. The senior leadership team is trying to get a year ahead. So our vice presidents and directors really run the day-to-day, which allows people closest to all of our problems, frontline workers, to have more impact on how we solve those problems, rather than people in the C-suite or potentially even in an ivory tower C-suite. We're going to let people closest to the problems come up with the best solutions. And that is a huge push for how we make decisions and how we, what we focus on for 2019. How can we do a better job, even as we're just trying to get through the day, keeping customers happy, keeping investors happy, finding new talent, all the things going on. We've got to be very, very aware of, are we creating a satisfactory experience for our employees? Because if we're not, they will leave. They are talented, they are lovely, and this is an incredibly hot market for talent. So, it is a do or die, we think, versus a nice to have.
The last time we spoke, you were in the process of hiring a new VP of People. Can you share how that process went and what impact this new hire has had on your team at Jellyvision?
Yeah, so to give you a sense, we are over, just about 400 people. And this was the first year we had formal HR. We called our head of recruiting, our head of people, and then we did our best to have very few policies and be very, very thoughtful. But we hired a bona fide, serious HR executive, and I am constantly amazed and delighted by how great HR is. Even a traditional playbook has all kinds of tools and constructs that prevent pain and just make things run better. So we are over the moon at the impact official HR has had. We have now HR managers who run training. We have done an engagement survey and twice too, actually, and have had really robust action plans coming out of that. We have evolved our entire recruiting team. So now it's a sourcing team instead of a more passive, we post job descriptions and wait for people who come to us. It's very, very outbound, which will help us really with our diversity goals and making sure we're bringing in fresh perspectives instead of just fishing from the same ponds. And it's just a tremendous amount of energy. The team is crazy great. And most people basically spend a lot of time thinking HR because they're making such an indelible mark in the business. Yeah, it changes our habits to be more productive. We're a company that is really held on to doing annual reviews, not because we like myopic, recency biased, brain dumps at some busy point of the year, but we think it was really important to sit down, reflect, and express gratitude, and also to provide meaningful coaching. And our HR team is really pushing for us to create a process where we can more manageably do it at least on a monthly basis and in writing so that people get more iterative feedback. And it's the kind of thing you're like, oh, it sounds like 12 times the work, but it's not. It's not 12 times the work, and it is more than 12 times the impact because people are going to get more immediate coaching. We'll be able to address problems earlier. We'll be able to recognize and create our own action plans when talent is really performing. So I am just a serious fan, and it really is amazing we got as big as we are without having a formal people team that really was responsible for the full board of diversity and inclusion, learning and development, not hiring, but onboarding, training, growing, career planning, all these things that really make a place someone wants to stay are now starting to happen at Jellyvision.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've been learning from Amanda Lannert, CEO and co-founder of Jellyvision. Amanda, welcome back. Thanks for joining us, and best of luck as you continue to build a fantastic team in 2019 and beyond.
Thanks for checking in.
I have to thank all of our top guests for joining me here again for our 100th episode. Every single guest on this show plays a huge role in the program's success. I supply the questions. You guys supply the content. We are always looking for successful entrepreneurs and business leaders to join the show. So if you or someone you think would be a fit, feel free to reach out to me at info@thebestteamwins.com or tweet right to us at thebestteamwins. And that is the final word, a wrap on episode 100. Thank you so much to our listeners for tuning in and supporting this program. I mean, it's just been such a great experience for me and the team here. It's exciting to end the year with a big milestone like this, and I'm looking forward to sharing more stories about how business leaders like you build their best teams. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next year.
Thanks for listening to the Best Team Wins podcast with Adam Robinson. You can find out more information about Adam and his book, The Best Team Wins, Building Your Business Through Predictive Hiring, at thebestteamwins.com. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next week.